Hello, welcome to Sci-Fi Christian. I'm Bandy Bono.
I'm Ben Kirkwold.
Talking about Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 2, Home. And I don't know, we were talking a little bit afterwards. You and I have genuinely been on the same page with the series. We might have a little disagreement tonight.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
We'll get there. But first, tonight's tobacco, also from Tobacco Grove like last week, but this is Red Cake. English-style Virginia, sweet, fully rubbed, matured cake. Perfect for blending with another favorite tobacco, or I guess we're not doing that.
No, just taking it.
Yeah.
It's good. I like it. It's
Yeah.
good. Change pace.
I can't keep mine lit tonight, but that is...
Happens to the best of us.
I understand. Alright, let me relight and we'll get to our beer.
Yeah. Which is new. Neither of us have had this brewery before, so I'm
Well, I
excited.
had it at the tasting, so I didn't even know this brewery existed. This is 56 Brewing out of Minneapolis. And then I was at my local liquor store and they were doing a free tasting. And I don't know, when you sit there and you're like trying all these samples, I kind of feel obliged to buy one after a while.
Right.
So this one's pretty good. It's not going to change your life, but it was good. This is called Dark Territory. It is dark chocolate coconut stout. So,
Coconut.
are you okay with coconut?
I'm okay with coconut. We'll see.
Alright.
As long as it's not like I had a coconut one that was like all coconut. That's all there was.
Oh, is that by Oscar Blues?
No, I forget the brewery. My wife got it. She loved it.
Yeah, because Oscar Blues has a beer called Death by Coconut.
Yeah.
That's about like that.
Yeah. Well,
Which I like coconut, so I was okay with that. I remember this one being a little more subtle.
yeah.
So, crap, we're running out of room here on this. There we
Have a
go.
bigger table, that's all.
That's true. But this is a lot more convenient than the table we've used in other years.
It's good. It's a little light. I mean, it's a dark beer, but it's very...
Yeah, it's 5.6%.
Yeah. It's not...
You could use a little more oomph
Right.
to it.
It's not a meal. Like,
Right.
I'm used to chewing my dark beers.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like I said, it's no surly darkness, but it's a decent beer.
Yeah. It's alright.
It was worth the $6 or
It's
whatever.
good. I
it was
think
for
most
the
people
bottle.
would like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. A good kind of. If you're not a stout guy, maybe a good intro to stouts.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. So, lots going on in this episode.
Yes.
I actually really enjoyed this episode. Part of it was that there's a lot of stuff that I've been waiting for a long time to see, whether it's Bran with the Three-Eyed Raven, or Sir Robert Strong, or Tyrion with the Dragons. It's like, and I get that those things don't make it a good episode, because I'm always saying on the podcast, Matt and I are always arguing about stuff, and he always likes those fan service moments, and I always give him a hard time about it. And now the shoe's on the other foot a little bit. Because a lot of what I liked about this episode was fan service moments that I've been waiting for years and years and years to see, but I still thought it was a good episode even if you took that stuff out. So that's kind of my general impression.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked everything about the episode. I just feel like all of this stuff that we've been talking about, you've been waiting for years and years and years to see, all happened in one episode.
So you're kind of thinking maybe...
I'm
You're wishing they would
mean,
have spaced it out a little bit, or?
yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of upset that all of this happened in one sitting. Like, I feel like I didn't have time to digest really cool things that are happening, like Tyrion with the dragons. I didn't have time to digest that before the next huge thing was happening. And it's only episode 2, which is, I mean...
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, I feel like this type of intensity is usually left for episode 8 or 9.
But that was part of what was so exciting about it.
I know, yeah. No, it was...
Well, and here's what I'll say, though, where I think you could be right, is that if we go through the rest of the season and it's slow and we have 4 or 5 episodes where nothing's happening, then you're absolutely right here. That they should have given us more breathing room to this stuff. But if this is, okay, let's go, then I'm okay with it.
Right. Well, if George R. R. Martin is right, and book 6 right now is 1,500 pages, and they're like, okay, we got 10 episodes ready, go.
Right.
I mean, we're talking, they got to start pushing through this.
Well, and is it 1,500 Storm of Swords pages, or is it 1,500 Feast of Crows pages, where we have Brienne wandering around Westeros for, 300 of them? Right. So, yeah, and so far, it seems like we're picking up the pace a little bit.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a big defender of Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragons. I think there are parts I'm critical of, but I think overall they set up the end of the story really well. But I am glad to see the pace picking up. So, but yeah, I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but I think we have to kind of, I guess I would say wait and see on that criticism.
Right. So.
All right.
I'll find out if I'm right later.
But we start out with Bran.
Yes.
And you talked about having breathing room. Honestly, there was a part of me that was wishing that we could have just had an entire episode of Bran and his visions in the tree, because that would have been so cool.
Yeah, I mean, that really was a really cool scene that I think might set up some stuff for later this season too, where we get the flashback of young Ned. We actually get to see Lyanna not in statue form down in the crypts.
We got to see Lyanna!
Right.
We got to see young Hodor!
Yeah.
We got
Willis!
We got to see Willis! We got to see Max von Sydow and a George R. R. Martin thing. How cool could this get?
Right. That was really cool. I think, I agree.
The Children of the Forest! I mean, we saw the Legend of Zelda thing at 2 seasons ago. We actually saw the Children of the Forest standing there.
I would really like to. I hope that they spend half of an episode diving into just Bran.
Right.
Where we
got to see young Ned. We got to see Benjen.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was really cool. I really liked that opening scene. And yeah.
So, I'm just throwing out my objectivity at this point.
You're just so happy about it.
I'm just so happy. It's so great. It's like I've been waiting years for this.
You've been waiting a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's come back to the Wall a little bit later, because
Yeah.
we end there. You want Winterfell or King's Landing?
Let's do Winterfell.
All right. It's a boy.
Yep. And you know what that means? Everybody has to die. Which really shocked. Both of us have been talking about this.
You're right.
And last week after the show, you and I kind of talked. You had a theory that that Roose was prepared for this outcome, and that he was going to, he knew this was coming, and he was going to have a plan to help get rid of Ramsay if this was the case. And that was not true at all.
Or if it was, Ramsay struck first.
Right. And so it just completely shocking to me, where I was just like, whoa.
Right. We knew this was going to come to a head, and one of them was probably going to die.
Right. We were, And I guess I really thought with you that it was going to be Ramsay that was going to die.
Well, even in the moment, and it didn't help that we were having, HBO Go was not at its best tonight.
No.
We were having some significant streaming issues, so it's kind of pausing here and there. But even in the moment, it's close up of both of their faces, and you're trying to figure out who stabbed who here. Somebody just got stabbed.
Right? Yeah. Somebody got stabbed. Both of them look, I don't know, the same, and so I'm trying to figure out which one got stabbed. Yeah, evil.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And and hats off to Martin and the writers for that relationship between the two, where it was 100% plausible in that moment that it could have been either one of them stabbing the other.
That's very true.
Yeah. I do think it makes more sense to have Ramsay be the one he was just ready to go, whereas Roose is more meticulous and plotting and everything.
Right. He would have been prepared in
right.
2 weeks probably to do
exactly.
this. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that this made more sense with their characters. The big question I had coming out of Winterfell is, what does this do now to House Frey?
That was my question as well, because now, we have all the way back Robb just didn't marry one of the girls and he killed you. And now you've actually killed a daughter
Yep.
Now what's going to happen? And now, I mean, it's coming out what? You got poisoned,
right?
Whatever. And so, but I don't really think that...
Nobody's going to buy that for a second.
No.
So, House Frey is going to go against House Bolton.
Right.
But that's going to get interesting because King's Landing and the Lannisters need House Bolton in the north. Like, from a Lannister perspective, they're okay with Ramsay being crazy for the moment.
Yeah.
You know, just let him do his thing up there as long as we are in control, we solidify things down here, and then we're good to go.
Right.
But House Frey doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And we're going against them, and you can pick whatever side you want.
Right. And they control the bridge between the north and the south, essentially.
Right.
And so, it's going to be... I don't know that... It might not come into play, because I can't imagine that Ramsay's desire is to start invading the south at this point. He really just wants to take over the north, so I don't know that it's going to become an issue.
Well, and he's going to march... His plan is to march towards Castle Black and kill Jon.
Right. Again.
Exactly.
That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Jon's like, hey, God! Oh!
Jeez. We'll get there.
Melisandre, can you do it again? Anyway, here's what I think is going to happen. I think House Greyjoy is going to ally with House Frey. And they're going to take on the North together.
Yeah?
And the whole thing's going to blow up again.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, you said, like, the dog attack over the top, and at this point...
Yes.
I feel like they've pushed Ramsay so far that everything he does has to be over the top.
Right.
It's time for Ramsay to die in the not-too-distant future.
Right. I mean, we said we've taken him from Darth Vader to Hitler, right? I mean, we've taken him to the worst of the worst. There's nothing more that you can do that's not going to feel completely bombastic and just over the top.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would say is that we've seen him do the dog thing before, not with a baby.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
I don't know. Having a baby, killing a baby, that is probably one of the worst things that you can do.
Right. If Ramsay Bolton says, follow me, don't do it.
Right, just walk away.
Alright, back to some fan service. Because this was fun. Sir Robert Strong, I was unbelievably happy to see him just slam somebody's head into the wall.
Yep, and just not a word was spoken there for, 2 minutes probably after that guy. I mean, I like how we had to get the backstory to remember who the guy was that he was about to kill.
Right.
I think that was pretty hilarious. And then,
yeah, but it's so great. It's like this is another one of those moments where, the book ends... Dance with Dragons ends, Sir Robert Strong is standing there, and we're like, oh, this guy's going to be awesome, and then we get nothing for 5 years, and here he is, and he's slamming people's heads into walls, and he's playing chicken with the entire King's Guard. Well, not the King's Guard, but the City Watch, or whoever those guys were.
I think they were Lannister.
Yeah, somebody. Yeah, not the King's Guard, so don't correct us in the comments.
Right.
But, yeah, that was great. I really liked all the stuff in King's Landing this week. The Tom and Jaime conversation, the High Sparrow showdown.
The High Sparrow showdown I really liked, and I think it really sets up everything so far. And I guess the question that's been going through my mind is, why have they not just taken an army in there and just been done with it? Tommen now even realizes that this was a mistake. We need to demilitarize the church, and we need to move on from this.
It's really it's a miniature Cold War at this point.
Right. And so, I don't know. I'm sure that will come to a head this season. But
right. Yeah, but that was great in the Sept. And Tommen is taking a darker turn.
Yeah, he's really moving in a very, just like his brother, I guess we'll say, right?
I think he's less sadistic than Joffrey.
But he's moving in that direction very, very quickly.
Yeah,
he's realizing that the world is not all that he thought it was.
Right.
That there is a darker side to the world, and now that he's never been exposed to that, and so now his only option is, well, I saw my brother do this, and so now I need to,
Yeah, he's moving in the direct direction. I don't think he'll ever be sadistic like Joffrey was. I mean, Joffrey was a Ramsay Snow level sadist.
Right.
And I don't think that's Tommen. But we've seen plenty of Lannisters, especially his grandpa, who were plenty sadistic in a calculated way.
Right.
Not out of just, I'm evil and insane, like Joffrey was.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, and like you pointed out, the revolving door of Lannisters on the slab and the sept. They just have that place reserved for
other.
And according to Cersei's vision from the witch, or the prophecy, Tommen will wind up there too. Right?
I don't remember the prophecy well enough.
Yeah, they alluded to it last week, because I didn't remember that either, but she said something about how the witch prophesied that all 3 of her children would be killed, so...
Oh, good. So Tommen's gonna die this season too.
Yeah. Which surprised me.
This might be a high body count season.
It was a high body count episode.
I know, 4 I think we counted. That's crazy.
Alright, so in Marine, slavery's back.
Right.
So good job, Danny.
Right, way to go.
Thanks for not marching on Westeros and hanging around to do your good deed.
Right, and then it didn't work, so thank you for that. But then we get Tyrion down with the dragons.
Oh, that's great.
Which I think you and I both loved that.
Well, you go back to the first book, and he's reading about dragons, and like this is something he's interested in, and there's the dragons at the bottom of the Red Keep, and he's into that, and it was fantastic.
Right, and I really think that this plays into, and this isn't spoiling anything because it's not even in the books, but there's a theory out there that he may be part Targaryen, or that he's going to be one of the riders of the 3 dragons.
Right.
And him being able to go down there and unchain them and not be burned to death, I think really plays into that theory starting to play out now, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, it's... I love that scene.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And I'm excited to see what happens.
Although I would like to point... I mean, it's been a long time since they've been down there, and he just pulled that bolt out with one hand, and he's a dwarf, and he just pulled it right out.
I was thinking the same thing.
I was like, I think I need a hammer and a chisel to be able to pound it out.
Hang on, Drogon, or whichever one is down there.
Yeah.
I was thinking the exact, you leave something like that for a week and it's done. Let alone when it's on dragons and that.
But that's fine. That's fine.
we can give it that
sit there with okay, let me pound this out. Hold on.
And I watched George with his attention to detail. We get to the book. That's going to be 2 chapters. Damn it! Come on! All right. A few other quick things. Arya, she actually got a hit in, so that was progress.
Right.
And another storyline where I felt like this was going to go a lot longer, and then Jacob shows up.
I think that's what annoys me, is that for the first 5 seasons of the show, we've let storylines play out, and now they're like, we're bringing this to I feel like I'm watching a show on NBC where we're just taking the shortcuts now. And I guess that's what is annoying me.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I guess I'm not quite ready to say that it's shortcuts yet. Okay. I want to see how it plays out a little bit more.
Alright.
I want to see where they're going with this. Because on the other hand, the book 4 and 5 material, which is where we've been the last 2 years, is so slow.
Right.
And I don't mind hitting the gas a little bit. I feel like the show and the story needs that at this point.
Right. I feel like the show needs it, but if he does it in the books, I'm going to be pissed.
Oh, there's going to be
I know, 1,500 pages. Man.
Exactly. You're going to find out everything Arya ate every day.
Yes!
Yeah, so I think we'll get our details.
Right.
Sansa and Theon, that was great. And the credit all goes to Martin for this, but the ability to take a character and take him from somebody who we felt neutral about to being a monster to dehumanizing him and then bringing him back to where he is now.
Right.
Just Theon's just such a spectacular character.
Yeah, I think his story arc has just been absolutely incredible. I mean, I think after he took over Winterfell, I don't think there was anybody who thought that they would ever like him or feel any sympathy for him ever. I think we all would have agreed that whatever Ramsay did to him, you go right ahead. But now all of a sudden it's like, oh geez, like that was really bad. Like you've served your atonement for...
Well, and not only us in the audience, but Sansa getting to the point where she not only forgives him, but embraces him, and it's written in a way where, to me, it felt completely believable, given everything they've been through. Like, the story earned that. Yeah. And really, really a spectacular scene. And we'll see what happens when he heads home to dear old dad. Or not.
And the Kingsmoot,
So, this is maybe the last book thing.
Yeah, and we had talked last season. We thought they were just going to kind of gloss over this and just be done with it.
Well, because this happened in the books, Balon dies before they invade.
He dies in book 3.
Right.
And so we're talking 3 books. I mean, we're talking book 4 went by, book 5 went by. And oh, by the way, this happened a really long time ago, and now we're going to cut back to it.
He's not murdered in the books, as far as we know.
It's hinted at.
It's hinted.
I mean, what happens in the books is he falls off of this thing, just like he did tonight.
Which, holy crap, invested a decent bridge. I mean, my gosh. Like, I wouldn't walk on that even if no one was there.
Worst dead man ever died.
Like, perfect weather, I'd be terrified.
Take risks.
What the hell are you doing? This is like this rickety bridge in between your castles. But anyway, go on.
In the books, the next day, the Crow's Eye, who is the character that we met tonight,
who pushed him over.
Right. Yeah. Sails into the harbor the very next day.
Right.
And nobody has seen him for 20 years. And he just happens to sail in the day after, the next morning after the king dies. Like,
so that's not... Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, and I'm excited to see the Kingsmoot, and I presume that's going to go how it goes in the books, so we won't talk about that for speculation.
Right.
But yeah, they just kind of changed the placement of it in the story, which is a little odd, but
fine.
Whatever.
I'm sure they have a plan, right?
Yeah.
They're better people than
maybe their plan was, oh crap, we should have included that.
Right. And George was like, yeah, this is actually really important. You should probably include that. I'm like, okay.
And the one thing they did botch with moving it this far back is that by now everybody's forgotten about Melisandre and the leeches, right? Where she takes what's his name's blood.
Well, they pointed that out on the lesser After Thrones, which I watched that last week, and I must say our show is quite superior to.
They might have better production values, but...
they had like stuff around them. We just have...
They have a budget.
Right.
We have a camera. That's it.
They talked about how, 2 out of 3 is not bad for the leeches.
Oh, so they were
they kind of knew that this was coming, which was annoying.
Yeah.
So now she's 3 for 3.
Yes.
And is bringing people back from the dead, which we're not. Are we there? We're not there.
Not there. But what's great about the placement in the book with moving that up is that it really is boom, boom, boom. Right. Oh, I'm blanking on his name. Who's the other Lannister? Not Lannister, Baratheon. Reginald. I'm going to call him Reginald. Starts with an R, but I don't remember his name.
Renly?
Renly, there we go. I was close. Reginald Baratheon. And then Joffrey, and then Balon. And so it's boom, 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 all in the same book.
No, not Renly. Robb.
Oh, you're right. Renly's already dead at that point. Yeah, so Robb, Joffrey, and then Balon are all dead as a result of the leeches. And so we got there eventually, but unless you were apparently watching After Thrones, which I didn't, and I'm guessing most of you didn't, you didn't even get the nice, not so subtle.
Ours is a lot better.
That's right. Alright, so the Wall. First we have the Wilding attack, which this was the episode for slamming people into walls.
Right? It was good. I felt like this is a fast forward too. I guess I'm just annoyed that everything so far, I feel like it's just not the way that Game of Thrones is done. And I get it, we're all happy that all this stuff is happening and that's really good. And it is really good. I really enjoyed everything that happened.
Are you referring to the wildling attack or Jon?
No, even the what?
Oh, because I completely disagree with you about the wildling attack.
No,
when they first showed up outside the door, I was thinking we cannot have 5 episodes of them playing chicken with a door between them.
No, and I thought there'd be like 1.
Right.
But
I was ready for it to be done. It was like, this was good last week, it's fine today, but if we come back next week and... You guys still in there? You gotta come out. If we were still doing that next week, I would have been pissed.
But I guess, like, there wasn't a battle. It was just like, let's all set down our weapons. Like, it just felt like a cop-out again.
But that to me made sense, though, because the only thing that was giving the Night's Watch a fighting chance was the wall. And now they're on the other side of Castle Black and the wildlings come in. You got a nice little fire going there. That's a candle. The only thing that was giving them a fighting chance was the wall. And so when the wildlings are coming at them from the other side, they're done. They don't have anybody at this point.
Right. Okay.
So that I can see what you're saying with the other things. To me, I'm so glad they got there. I just did not want to play chicken for another week.
As long as we don't spend 5 episodes with another scenario where we are standing between a door for whatever.
Exactly. Like, let's move along. But then the big thing, of course, is Melisandre, which, first of all, very kind of her to put the jewel back on. Because, can you imagine, hey, Melisandre, can we... Holy shit! That would have been a great scene, but...
right, and she was cold for the first time ever.
Right. So this is going to be, this is the one place where I probably most agree with you in terms of timing. It felt like her recovery from doubt would take a little bit longer.
Yeah, I had talked to another friend earlier today. We talked about episode 4. Seemed like a good time for him to come back from the dead. But episode 2 is just so...
But here's the thing. We don't know that he's back. In other words, we saw him gasp, but we don't know what's going to happen next. Is he really back, or is it like a momentary thing and then he falls back into it?
No, he's back. He is going to be sitting behind a table with clothes on when we next see him, I bet.
See, I don't know.
Or do you think he's just going to have to, like, warg into...
I don't think it's going to be quite that easy. And again, like I said, I feel like your complaints could be valid, but we have to see what happens.
Right.
If we come back next week and he's sitting behind the table as Lord Commander,
right,
then I'll say, okay, that was way too easy for how much it was built up.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's either something where he's not quite back or there's something else going on, then I don't mind them doing this. Because when have we seen an easy resurrection in this show? I mean, like, think of Drogo. Right?
Right.
It's,
well, Thoros of Myr brings back Targaryen fairly easily.
Right. But even there, it's... Like, he obviously knew what he was doing. Melisandre didn't seem to really know what she's doing. And this is a bigger deal. And Jon had been dead a lot longer. So, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be more to it than that.
Alright. I hope so.
We'll see. So we'll circle back on that one next week for sure.
I feel like we should make a bigger deal that Jon is alive, though.
It is awesome.
I guess all book readers... I feel like everybody knew that Jon was going to be alive.
And that's the other thing, is how long do you want him to... From a storytelling perspective... where it's so obvious to the point where HBO just gave a line about him and put him on the freaking poster.
Right.
How long do you want them to draw this out for?
Right.
Before they start to lose credibility with their fans.
Right.
To me, I can see what you're saying, but by the time we got in the room and she's chanting over him, I would have been more frustrated if we had gone to credits with him still dead. Because I knew it was going to happen. We were either
But I
going to
guess
see what we
it
saw.
didn't happen the way that I wanted it to happen. I guess
I
that's
know,
frustrating.
yeah. You wanted more of the Azor Ahai.
Yeah.
But we don't, and that's what I was saying, we don't know that we've seen his whole resurrection yet. This could be, in which case I'll completely agree with you, or this could be step one,
Right.
and there's more to come in terms of him coming back.
It's only episode 2. We still
Exactly.
have more to go. Deep breath.
Yep, and if they're doing this pace the whole season, it's wild.
Danny could be back. Like, Danny could be flying on a dragon over to Westeros by episode 10 if this is the pace.
Exactly.
Which is...
That's awesome.
It's really cool, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so, I don't know, it's just so hard to say at this point, because like I said at the beginning of this, if we get 5 shows now where nothing happens, and we're just wandering around, then I'll say, yep, they did all that too early and too fast.
Right.
But if this is, let's go, and we're going, and stuff's going to start happening that we've been waiting to happen for years, I'm on board.
Yeah.
You know, full speed ahead. Right. All right, so I guess that I don't think we so much disagree after all, as we just kind of have to wait and see. And I'm more optimistic than you are, which is a strange place for me.
We have the opposite side.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't see any Dorne this week, which I'm just fine with. I feel like I got more and more negative on the Dorne stuff from last week the more I thought about it. Especially them killing, what's his name? Prince Doran. Yeah. Because even though they'd screwed it, I feel like last week, when coming right off the episode, was kind of like, well, they'd already screwed up the storyline, so who cares? But now it's like, it just feels like they're just digging that hole more. It's just stop. At this point, it'd be fine if we just never see Dorne again.
And I think that's the plan.
They got to still do something with it.
Yeah. They'll kill the snake wife people, and then it'll be done.
I would be just fine with a giant plot hole there at this point, because they've screwed it up beyond the point of repair.
Right.
Didn't see Sam this week.
No.
But I saw a promotional picture with him and Gilly, which might have been from last season, so who knows. Well, we got to see them at some point.
No Danny this week.
No Danny this week. That's a big one. I think we saw everybody else. Of course, we said that last week.
We said that last week, and then we went, oh yeah.
As soon as we turned off
Bran, no, yeah.
Oh, who knows? Anyway, I'm excited about this season.
If the pace is going to be like this, I'm thrilled.
Yeah. No Littlefinger again. That's a big one.
Yeah. He's going to come and just be like, hey, I own the whole country.
Exactly. I just bought everything.
Right. I am now king.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on this episode?
We'll see. You can replay the clips about how angry I am or about how right you are about episode 8 or so, right?
We'll come back to this conversation, so to be continued.
Right.
On the evaluation of episode 2.
Right.
All right. So that's it for this week. I'm Benji Bono.
Bye, Crypto.
And this is Sci-Fi Christian. Goodbye.